We've all been sold this idea of the middle class dream, right? Get a stable job, a decent salary, maybe a car, a home, and you've made it. But what if that dream, that steady paycheck we all strive for, is actually the most sophisticated financial trap ever designed? Let's get into that.
It's a pretty intense question, isn't it? I mean, we're taught our whole lives to see that salary as security, as our safety net. But today, we're going to flip that idea on its head and explore how that very security could be the one thing holding you back from real financial freedom. So, let's start by putting a name to this feeling that so many people have but can't quite describe. It's called the middle class trap. And just understanding what it is, well, that's the first step to figuring out if you're in it. Now, to be super clear, this isn't about being poor. It's about being stuck. You've got a good job, you pay your bills, you might even have some nice things, but you feel like you're on a treadmill, right? You're running and running, but not actually getting anywhere. You're just one or two missed paychecks away from a real crisis. That is the trap. Does any of this sound familiar? Maybe a little too familiar? This is the classic picture, the constant pressure of living from one salary to the next. That gnawing anxiety in the back of your mind about what would happen if the money suddenly stopped coming in. The insane competition for, well, everything, from getting your kids into a good school to fighting for that next promotion at work. And let's be honest, underneath all of that is that subtle, powerful drive to keep up appearances, to look the part. But here's the thing. This trap isn't just about outside forces pushing you down. It's also deeply, deeply rooted in a particular way of thinking. It's a dangerous mindset that actually keeps the gears of the trap turning. Okay, this slide really gets to the heart of the problem. On the left, you've got the consumption mindset. This is all about spending first, often on stuff that gives you a quick hit of satisfaction or, impresses other people. But on the right, you have the investor mindset. The focus here is totally different. It's about using your money to buy assets, things that generate more money. It really boils down to one simple question. Are you just working for your money, or is your money working for you? This quote, wow. It really hits home, doesn't it? Think about it. That new car, the designer clothes, the fancy dinners you post on Instagram. How much of that spending is something you truly need or enjoy, and how much of it is about projecting a certain image? This social pressure is basically the fuel that keeps the consumption engine running. All right, let's talk about something a little sensitive. Our source material brings up a really tough question about one of the biggest expenses for any middle-class family: our kids. Of course, we want the absolute best for them, but the source tells the story of parents who sacrificed everything, working crazy hours, not saving a dime for their own retirement, all to educate their child. And what happened? The child moved abroad, and the parents were left with no financial support. It forces us to ask a hard question. Is there a way to invest in our kids without completely bankrupting our own future? So it's not just our mindset, right? There are also some really powerful external forces at play here. The hard reality is that the modern economic system often feels like it was specifically designed to put the squeeze on the salaried middle class. And this is exactly why. If your only source of income is a fixed salary, you are the most vulnerable person in the room. When inflation skyrockets, the cost of everything goes up, but your salary, it usually stays the same. You feel the full punch. And when governments need more money, who's the easiest group to tax? Salaried employees, through systems where the tax is just taken right out of your paycheck before you even see it. Your income is on the books, it's easy to target, and when a big economic crisis hits, you get the picture. Now, this comparison from the source introduces a pretty shocking idea. Take a look. You've got the salaried professional making $200,000. That sounds like a good income, right? But they're taxed heavily right off the top. Now look at a skilled tradesperson, say a really good carpenter who might be making $180,000 or more. They often work in the informal economy, pay way less tax, set their own hours, and have a ton more financial control. And all of this leads to a very provocative statement from our source material. The idea is that when you factor in the high taxes, the complete lack of autonomy, and the extreme vulnerability to economic shocks, the person in the suit and tie can actually be in a worse financial position than the person with the toolkit. In a very real sense, they've become the new poor. Okay, that was a lot of bad news. I get it. But we're not here to just point out a problem and leave you there. We are here to talk about the solution. And escaping this trap doesn't start with a new job or some magic investment.
It starts right here, between your ears. This is it. This is probably the most important step of all. No judgment, no shame, just a clear, brutally honest look at your situation. You can't find your way out of a maze until you first accept the facts that you're in the maze. That acknowledgement, that's power. All right, so once you've acknowledged the reality of the situation, you can start building your escape route. And there is a path. It's a clear, actionable plan to get you to true financial freedom. So here's the path forward. Step 1, like we said, acknowledge the trap. Step 2, build your skills. Your university degree from 10 years ago isn't enough anymore. The world changes fast, and you have to be constantly learning. Third, master your spending. This is not about being cheap, it's about being conscious and intentional with your money. And finally, the big one, become an investor. Make your money start working for you. And look, this isn't some overnight get-rich-quick fantasy. The source is very clear about that. It suggests a realistic timeline. This is a sustainable, disciplined plan. And by aiming for a maximum 10-year target, you turn this vague dream into a concrete project with a real deadline. It's actually achievable. So let's circle back to that tough topic of our kids. The key takeaway here is all about balance. The goal isn't to stop investing in them. It's to make those investments conscious and strategic, without completely sacrificing your own financial well-being and your retirement. You know, it's like on an airplane. You have to put on your own oxygen mask first before you can help anyone else.
And so we end right where we began with a question. But this time, I want you to really, really think about it. If that salary, the one that defines your middle-class life, just disappeared tomorrow, what would you do? What's your plan? If the honest answer to that question frightens you, then maybe today is the day you start building your escape.